What is up, YouTube? How's it going, guys? I know you're probably wondering where I've been in the past few months.
Oh, is that actually you, Eli? You're here? Oh, thank you for gracing me with your presence on this channel. Thank you for being here.
You haven't seen me on any of our content because I've been busy. I've been doing a lot of work in the past 2 months since I came back to the Philippines. I was in the States for about a month and then I came back. But I gotta pay the bills. YouTube doesn't exactly make me money quite yet. It doesn't make any of us money yet. We decided to do a 2017 year of review and see what we've learned the past year since we started traveling, since we started our channel.
The first question is, what have you learned from this past year of travel? I've learned a lot of things because I've been to a lot of different places. This year I was in the Philippines, I was in South Korea, I went to Atlanta, I went to St. Louis, I went to Baltimore, I went to Washington, D.C., I was in Richmond, Virginia for a minute, I went to San Francisco. I did literally so much traveling and it was exhausting and it was great. One big thing that I took away from this past year is that if you are a person of a marginalized identity, take care of yourself while you're traveling. If you need to leave certain spaces, do that. If you need to not reveal certain details about your identity, do that. When I was in the Philippines and couch surfing, I rarely told my host that I was gay because I was obviously in a financial situation where couch surfing was really beneficial to me, and I was also in a completely new country and I wanted to be careful. And I think that can take many different forms, whether or not you're trans or gender non-conforming or you're a woman or whatever. Take care of yourself as a marginalized person because shit is real out here. Another big thing that I learned is that solo travel is really important, but I definitely learned that if I'm traveling with another person, I need days to myself. I need to sometimes separate myself and reflect on what that period of travel really means to me. So prioritize yourself, even if you're traveling in a group, even if it's taking one day out of the week where you explore on your own.
For question one, what have you learned in the past year of travel? And I would say the most thing I've learned the past year of travel is learning how to plan ahead, learning how to budget, figuring out an itinerary, and figure out where you're gonna go if you're only gonna be traveling for like a few days or a week or something like that. We had a few things planned. We decided, oh, maybe we should go to Ifugao, visit a friend up there, and Cebu, but we didn't have the dates figured out at all. We did not look at where we were gonna stay. We had some couch surfing options when we were doing that. We definitely didn't have a set budget at all. It was definitely a learning lesson, to be honest. But we didn't really have any go-to plan of how we were actually going to make money. And that's why I had to move to Manila to potentially continue my travels, or I was going to stay there, which I have done. I've been pretty much in Manila since March. One thing you should do when you're traveling is, it's great to travel, but you should travel with a purpose. Travel with a purpose. Trying to find some cultural knowledge, or you're trying to understand the history of a place. I mean, you really don't want to be like one of those like travelers that just comes into town, gets really drunk, pisses everyone off, and then leaves. Like, that's not a good thing to do. I think that one passion for me while I'm traveling is pretty much film and photography. I love travel, but if I'm not working on something creatively towards me, then maybe it's not as fun. I mean, it's good to take like trips that are vacation for like a few days or a week or something to like relax your mind. But if you're doing that all the time and like that's all you do, I want something that like I'm working on, like a project or some kind of like creative process of sorts, whatever that may be for you. Question number 2. Since you've been YouTubing for 1 year now through TwoWokeMinds, what have you learned in your YouTube experience? One thing I've learned is I've learned how hard it is to consistently maintain content. Doing like 1 or 2 videos a week, even that much, I mean, can be a struggle if you are working like a full-time schedule or something like that. If you're not doing anything else, yeah, then that's definitely feasible. But thinking of ideas, brainstorming, If you're travel vlogging, you have to go to the place and then you're editing it. And travel vlogs actually take a really long time because you're going through so much content. Another thing I've learned from YouTube is like figuring what works on YouTube and what doesn't. And I feel like to some degree we're definitely still working on that. But we're better understanding it nowadays. What do you want? Tell me. Tell us.
First is YouTube. YouTube is a hella white place. I'm sure all of you are seeing all the drama with Logan Paul going into the suicide forest in Japan and cracking jokes near a dead body. That is literally the mentality that I think me and other people are trying to fight with creating like more conscious content on YouTube and stuff that's like more honest and more accountable. When I was in San Francisco, I got the chance to meet up with Kat Black and talk to her, and she talked a lot about how people of various identities are constantly underrepresented or not given the same recognition as white folks that create some mediocre stuff. As far as TwoWokeMinds, I definitely learned a lot about the awkwardness of vlogging in public. I learned a lot about what it really means to be disciplined with your craft and to take it seriously and to, I don't know, find new ways to push it further. And definitely going to San Francisco and accepting that grant from GLAAD made me realize that there are people out there who have made entire careers out of this. And who knows if that's something that I really want to do, like as far as like building a career out of this, but it's possible and it takes a lot of work. And I love like having a project that I can always go back to and constantly like elevate and progress in, and that's what this is.
Question number 3, where do you want to travel to next? I really want to go to Japan because I watched this movie, which I can't think of the name of right now. It was an indie Filipino film here. It was a rom-com, of course, but it was so good. And they filmed it in Sapporo, which is I think in northern Japan. But I want to go to Osaka and Kyoto and Tokyo, and I'd love to go to Japan. The other place I want to go, I went briefly through Bangkok and Cambodia for like 5 days, but it was like a work trip, so it wasn't as fun. But I really want to go again. I want to go to Bangkok, and I know I have friends there that will host me. Right, guys? Please host me. Go visit other parts of like mainland, like Southeast Asia, like Vietnam. Really wanted to go to like Laos and see some other countries, maybe for like, backpacking for like maybe 3 weeks or something like that. South Korea is my third place I want to go to.
Where do I want to travel next? I would love to go back to Jamaica, visit my family, visit my father. I would love to go to India. I was really close to going last year. Instead of working at the hostel in South Korea, I potentially was going to be able to go to India, but those plans ended up not working out. I really want to go back to Spain. I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Italy, and I want to go to Africa. Take me back to Africa. I want to go back. So those are the places that I want to hit, hopefully in 2018. We'll see if that happens. And the most Eli moment of 2017 and the most Prince moment of 2017. Oh my God.
I'm gonna do Prince first. I think the Prince moment of 2017 that I witnessed was when Prince and I were traveling Cebu for a month, and we were in this beach town called Moal Bohal, which is like, I think the southern tip. Beautiful beaches, great diving. We did canyoneering there and did some snorkeling, really gorgeous.
Oh wow, Eli's video cut out. Can't hear this embarrassing story about me. Next clip.
So I think that was the most Prince moment of 2017. Now I think the most Eli moment that I know personally of 2017, I like to commute because I'm stubborn and I don't want to pay that much money. It's so expensive to do a taxi all the time. However, commuting in the Philippines is a freaking hassle. It's such a hassle. My God, hassle. Sobrang traffic. Uy. There was this one time that I was getting onto MRT and it was like a not so popular stop, and there's always like, it was during rush hour, so there's a ton of people, and the MRT stops at the station and I have my backpack on and I try to get in. I'm not as smart as everyone else and I have my backpack on my back. So I get onto the MRT and I'm just trying to force my way through because there's so many people and I can barely fit. And next thing you know, the doors are closing, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not all the way in. And then the door closes on my backpack, like halfway through, but I can't turn around to move it because I'm stuck because there's just like people right here next to me. The people in front of me takes me by the shoulders and pulls me in. And I'm saved. Like an Eli commuting struggle.
Most Eli moment is definitely, I think this just kind of explains my friendship with Eli. We were in Manila and we flew to Cebu to basically crash with our friend. And our flight was really, really early. And I basically told Eli, like, oh, we're gonna land and then we'll get to Ryan's place, whatever. And Eli was under the impression that Ryan's family was gonna pick us up right away. And I was just like, and I was under the impression that, like, it's early, I don't want to bother his family. So we literally landed in Cebu, and then Eli said, okay, where's Ryan and his family? And I was like, honey, we're sleeping outside. I planned to like just have us crash in the airport for a few hours, but the airport closed. So we literally had to sleep outside until it was lighter and we were able to figure out how to get to our friend's house. And when I tell you that Eli was pissed, he was so angry, and I couldn't stop laughing because I thought, we're already traveling together. You can't get out of this. So that was definitely, at least to me, the most Eli moment. The most me moment of 2017 was definitely working at this hostel in South Korea. I think it was a few days into being there because I went out and I got like really, I just partied too much. Throwing back drinks because people were offering me drinks because they love melanin in South Korea. And I basically was really drunk and I left the bar. I was so like just out of it that I wandered around for like literally 2 hours, and I was asking people in the streets, like, how do I get to this hostel that I work at? No one was helping me because I think everyone was just afraid of this drunk black dude. I even went to a police station and asked these police officers for help, and you already know that I don't like police, and they didn't even help me. They just looked at me and they said, we don't know what you're talking about. And I basically just wandered for so long, and then I eventually got back to my hostel. And then the next morning, my friend who was at the bar with me was like, oh, I got back last night, like, where were you? I mean, I called you that cab. I was so drunk I didn't even know that my friend called me a cab, and it dropped me off near the hostel. So that was a little, or not, it was a big dose of irresponsibility on my part, but things happen.
Yeah, so much has changed in the past year. A lot since I moved here. Now I've started doing modeling and acting. A commercial I did, but it'll be out in a few weeks, I think. It was my first commercial. I was not the main lead, but that's okay. Doing something like that, and now I'm starting up a company, like a video rental company, a video production company with some friends, and that's gonna be something I'm gonna work on too. So I have a lot of like little projects going on, and I never thought any of this would have been possible, I'm sure, a year ago. I was in a rough spot in my life, you know? I didn't have much money. I didn't have many friends. I didn't think I was pushing a lot of my creative endeavors in photography or video. But now, things have like switched. I mean, they're not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but they are significantly better. And I'm sure they will be next year. So that's my 2017 in review. Hope you guys like this video, and check out our other videos, and we plan to do more videos like this, some collaborative videos, so you can see that I still exist and Prince isn't the only one out there doing vlogs. Thank you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe this video, and tell me about your 2017, what you did this year, and how you changed as a person. Bye. Take care. Whoop! Wait, you guys gotta see this coconut that fell on my roof. Look at this.
That thing fell on my roof, like literally, like an hour ago. It sounded like thunder.